started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Black AIDS Institute's Brown Bag Lunch Series. We are extremely excited that you're able to tune in. My name is Tenesha Lewis. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm BAI Senior Manager of Training and Capacity Building. So, BAI's mission is to stop the AIDS epidemic in Black communities by engaging and mobilizing Black institutions and individuals to confront HIV. So, here we advance this mission with activities kind of like our brown bag lunches, and every month we're bringing in folks who can speak to HIV related issues facing Black Americans. This month, we are highlighting National Gay Men's HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, which is on the 27th, so in just a few days from today. Today, I'm happy to introduce some key figures in our LA-based prevention and care team, beginning with David Coleman, and I'm going to give a little spiel about him, and then I'm going to have him introduce himself as well as our other guests. So David was born and raised in New York and relocated to LA around 6 years ago. And before moving to LA, David focused on his work primarily on Black queer men at various CBOs, including Minority Task Force on AIDS, People of Color in Crisis, and Bronx AIDS Services. David lends his experience within BAI as the social support coordinator, running both online and in-person community outreach programs and support groups, which I'm sure we'll hear a lot about in just a few. We also may hear from a few of our teammates in the LA office, whom you can see here, and I'd like them to introduce themselves at that time. So with that being said, we're going to turn the session over to David's expertise to share some words about his work at BAI, centering sex positivity and anti-stigma efforts, and doing all of this while prioritizing Black communities. Then we're going to have a Q&A period. Please feel free to ask questions using our Q&A feature, and that is a button located at the bottom of your Zoom screen, so you may have to hover over that, and we'll have time to address those questions following the presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to David and our guests to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. First, let me just ask, is my connection stable? Am I all good? Okay, I was getting a notification over here. If not, please let me know, and I apologize in advance. Hi, I'm David Coleman, social support coordinator here at the Black AIDS Institute at the LA office. Very excited to talk to y'all today. And thank you, Tenesha, for having me for that wonderful introduction. But yes, I'm very excited to talk to y'all today about HIV and sex positivity and how those things can go hand in hand. It's a very, very dear topic to me. I talk about it all the time because I truly do believe having a sex positive attitude can help the transmission of HIV between folks. So that's who I am, and I would love to introduce my two co-panelists today, Richard and Josh. Introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon or good morning, greetings wherever y'all are at. My name is Richard Demery. I am a program specialist with the local team here at BAI. I focus on a variety of social programs for folks in the LA area, specifically Black folks. We try to target Black queer folks. And yeah, we do some really great stuff. And you know, I want to echo what David said. We do try to push that idea of sex positivity to keep people open, because when you're open, you're able to talk about different ways of keeping yourself safe. So it's truly something dear to us, and I think I can say that for the three of us. Want to take it over, Josh?
Hey y'all, I'm Joshua. I've been at BAI going on 3 years now. I'm a program specialist, as well as my main focus right now has really been on testing because I'm an HIV tester and counselor. We just like to incorporate our everyday conversations that we have amongst friends and try to bring that into this space when we counsel so that it doesn't feel like we're talking at people, but more so having a conversation and letting them to know that you may not like everything and that's okay. And if you do like everything, that's great too. Just understanding that there's power in whatever you choose to like and whatever you choose to do and however you choose to show love and however you choose to get down.
Love that. I love that. How do you choose to get down? How do you choose? Okay, it's up to you. We're gonna get there. Now, just so y'all know, if there are any children in the room, any kids in the room, just know this conversation is going to get a little racy. We're going to be talking about a lot of sex stuff. I think kids should hear a lot of sex stuff as long as there's an adult there to explain it to them. But you know, if you got them kids in the room, you might want to put them to bed. All right, so we're gonna start with a little explanation of this day. So each year on the last Friday in September, National Gay Men's HIV/AIDS Awareness Day builds awareness and increases education about the virus. It also focuses on ways to eliminate the virus. In 2008, the National Association of People with AIDS launched this observance day to recognize the disproportionate impact of the epidemic on gay men. The day encourages more open dialogue between partners as well, and improving the understanding of the disease and access to testing to help reduce risk. Services and opportunities to help raise awareness about HIV and AIDS come in many ways. And during this observance and others like it, there are several ways to participate. So what's a way that you can participate in today? Well, first of all, you came to this meeting, so you're already doing it. Congratulations, thank you. Second, you can find a clinic near you for testing. I will put a link in the chat for a testing locator. Let me see if I can do that. Sorry, I don't have slides today. I'll put that right there. It is locator.hiv.gov. For those on YouTube, locator.hiv.gov. You can learn more about prevention and risk factors, which is something you're doing now. You're talking with a community of people that are speaking to HIV prevention and care. And you can help eliminate the stigma associated with HIV and AIDS through education and conversations, openly and honestly talking about sex. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to openly and honestly talk about sex. The more comfortable we are talking about sex in the first place, the more comfortable we will be in having conversations about prevention and care, normalizing STIs, treatments, and biomedical interventions. So today, we're going to get freaky with a game we call the freaky things other people do. Not that I do, not me. It isn't me. It's other people that I don't know, or maybe I know, I don't know. So the way that we play this game is, and y'all are gonna participate in the chat, all right? We're going to take 3 to 4 minutes and you're gonna write down all of the freaky things that other people do that you've ever heard of, that you've ever thought about. Maybe it's something you do, but you don't want to let people know you do it, and that's fine too. But you're going to write that down. Let me see, it's 11:11 my time. So we're not going to go too long, but we will go to 11:15. Does that sound like enough time to think of freaky things? Yeah? Yeah? Great. All right, so everybody, even those that are not on this panel, please do this activity for you. All right? I'll see y'all back. Oh, there's some like right there. Great, beautiful. Okay, all right.
Do you want us to think on our own first and then come together?
I mean,
or are we ready to roll?
Fine. This is actually fine. Go for it, y'all. We have 11:15. Go ahead, put them in the chat. Beautiful. Spitting each other's mouths, bestiality, great. See, I told you, put the kids away. Frauding, great. Toes, eating anus, great, beautiful. Y'all are great. This is a great group. Y'all got right into it.
Right into it. I love it.
It's the flogging for me. It's the flogging.
It's how fast they're coming from me.
Come on, y'all.
So for those who are going to watch this on YouTube later, these are really rapid fire responses that are happening in our chat. So this is great. And if you're watching on YouTube later, feel free, write them down. Do this with a friend, your mom, your grandparent. Let's go.
Yes. Absolutely do this with a friend, with your mom, with a grandparent. I promise you, it's going to make you so much closer. And you'll probably find out some things that you never knew before. For those folks on YouTube, keep going, y'all. You have 2 more minutes. I'm going to read some of these for the folks on YouTube in the meantime. And also, if there's something that you don't know, if there's a question you have about any of these, we're going to discuss it. So please keep that in mind. Scatting, sucking toes, eating ass. Ooh, I don't want to miss these. I want to make this better. Oh, hold on. One second. This is too good. Okay, scatting, sucking toes, furries, anal acrobat, golden showers, rimming, spitting in each other's mouths, bestiality, toes, fronting, eating anus, fisting, frottage, bondage, water sports, S&M, spanking, cum dump, golden shower, sucking toes, flogging, BDSM, tossing salad, trimming, fisting, voyeurism, adult babies, hypnosex, truffle buttering, voyeuriso, cosplay, having sex sitting on the toilet. Okay. Y'all
And
are
for
good.
anyone just joining, let me just interject. So anyone who may just be joining
Please.
the Zoom or the YouTube, if you've come for the BAI brown bag lunch, yes, you are in the right place. Remember, this is all about sex positivity. So
That's
the
right.
more we talk about this, the more we make each other uncomfortable, the more we just chat and just have these really fun conversations, the more we can do that not only with each other and the communities, not only can we destigmatize, but we can also begin to really make the HIV related connections that we need. I gotta bring it around. Had to bring it around. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tenesha. Kamaria, I see you in the chat. I'm so sorry, Kamaria. You walked into this like, what is going on? Said, please help. Yes, this is a non-traditional brown bag lunch. You are in a brown bag lunch with David Coleman and friends. So this is it. All right, y'all, it's 11:15, and I think we have a lot here. If you want to put some more in there, please feel free. But we're going to go over some of these that we've never heard of. Let's learn about some new things. Richard, Joshua, Tenesha, do y'all see anything in the chat that you are curious about? And
Yes.
for those on the other side, if you see something in this list, please ask a question in the chat.
And for anyone just joining, again, I see some people floating in and out. And for anybody just joining again on YouTube, we're having these discussions to normalize this kind of thing so that we can have these same discussions with clients, with the community, with our family, friends, and really start to normalize this stuff so we can have real talk about sex, risk, status.
That's right. Thank you, Tenesha.
Got to do my periodic disclaimer.
Please do, because I know if I came in here, I'd be like,
what is this? Mpreg?
Mpreg.
Like MPREG?
Oh, MPREG. And
this dual mastui? MASTUY?
See,
we can have somebody qualify this or like give some little context in the chat.
Yes, please. Mpreg. I'm gonna look that up. I don't know what that is. I don't see it here. It's coming up as a stock symbol. So we'll come back to that one. If the person that said Mpreg wants to put that in, put a definition in there, we would appreciate it.
Okay.
Did they? And then you said duomasty. I think that's dual masturbation. Sounds like that. That's what that
and remember, you can also ask your questions using the Q&A feature because thankfully we had so much engagement. This is really rapid fire in the chat. If you have an actual question, feel free to use the Q&A feature. For those of us who are watching on YouTube, if you have an actual question, feel free to reach out to David, Richard, or Josh. You can do so via the blackaids.org website.
Yes, thank you. Let's see, what else is here? Let's see, clamping, incest, double penetration, foreplay, leather, having sex sitting on toilet, voyeuriso. I understand a voyeur to be to someone that watches other people having sex. I'm wondering if voyeuriso is any different. Tribbing, what is tribbing? Do y'all know what tribbing is? Do you know what that is, Richard?
Let me look it up because I've been looking up some of these.
Yeah, let's look up tribbing.
Add them to the list.
And as we talk about this, y'all, we just want to, and y'all seem like very sex positive people, clearly from the way you're putting these things in the chat so freely and openly. I really appreciate it. And the point is to learn about these things. It doesn't mean you have to do them. Doesn't have to mean you have to even like them. You can find them very unattractive. But what we're trying to do is not yuck other people's yums. Very familiar phrase in this space where we are saying, if you like that, you know what Black people say. You like it, I love it, right? If you like it, I love it. Doesn't mean I gotta do it, but I love that you like that, right? So that's how we're gonna respect other people's preferences when it comes to sex and really anything. As long as it's not hurting anyone, it's pretty good with me.
We've got a response here that says tribbing equals scissoring. We also have a couple of questions, and then I also would like to ask a question to the group. So first we have, what are rainbow kisses?
What was what? I'm sorry.
What are rainbow kisses?
Rainbow kisses. So what I understand rainbow kisses to be is when you are eating a girl out, right? Whoever it is eating a woman out, or someone that has a period. You're eating out a person that has a period. I'll rephrase that. That period, the blood would get in your mouth, and you would kiss the other person with the blood in your mouth. I believe that's what a rainbow kiss is.
So the next question is, what's a good approach for teens? And this sort of ties into the question that I was going to ask. And so that question is, how do you begin to explore this idea of sex positivity? So with teens, with the idea of just sort of having rapport with clients, are we jumping into this? Like, how are we responding to folks who are bringing this up? How do we begin?
Did you say teens?
Teens is the question
sure.
we have in the audience. Yeah.
Sure. So we have a new program that is geared towards teens. It's our first time working with that age group. And in doing that, I had to learn, like, how do I, get this information out in the same way? And I think with teens or just children, you start with the body. You start just with getting them to accept and have body positivity and just being comfortable in their bodies, comfortable with what their body looks like, no matter what it looks like. Talking about health, getting comfortable with them touching themselves, right? Not demonizing that, not saying, you can't jerk off, you can't play with yourself. Let the kids do it. Like, let them do it, and try to guide them in a healthy way to do it. I think that's where I would start with teens. And then just the general public, I think, again, it's just starting small, like getting people to say the word penis, getting the people to say the word vagina without snickering, without laughing, with knowing that they may have one of these things, right? Starting very, very slowly, and then just always being calm, cool, and collected when you're talking about sex, always speaking about it in a positive way, because obviously sex can go negative, right? But speaking about it in a positive way, not like it's going to hurt you in the future, not like it's going to damage you in the future, because sex doesn't always have to do that. We want to look at it in a good way, in a positive way, and encourage sexual exploration, because when you do that, you don't have as much fear around it, you don't have shame around it. Fear and shame lead to us not talking about it, which leads to virus and disease, because we're not talking about it, right? So that's what I would say to that.
Great. We have a few things. I'm sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
It's all good. I just want to add something on to that. Also, just by breaking like the generational things that we tell like our children about having to wait until marriage to have sex, and that is this big thing, and understanding that it's something that everyone does. Everyone has their own journey in time as to when they will get to that point, but just understanding that it's not something that holds as much weight as like our elders may have put on it prior.
Thanks for that. And that's really helpful with destigmatization. I wanted to just chime in a little bit because we've got some chat responses. So we've got a participant who mentions that their understanding of rainbow kisses is when several people wear different color lipsticks and give one penis blowjobs. Their understanding of eating someone out who's on their period is getting your red wings. And back to the impreg conversation, we've got an audience member who says that impreg is literally an letter M, preg, for those who can't see this in chat, a male pregnancy fetish where a male partner enjoys the emotions attached to being impregnated by their partner. It can be a two-way fetish where the insertive partner fetishizes impregnating their receptive partner, or where the receptive partner fetishizes being impregnated by their insertive partner. When explored in a sexual relationship, it's generally a mutual fetish. We've got some really sex positive, aware, maybe even wonderful researching participants here, and I love it. We also have a couple other questions in the Q&A, and I love that. Keep them coming. This is a more different BBL where this is really a conversation. So keep these questions coming. Our next participant says, thank you for this space. Would it be safe to say that some of the terminology shared can have multiple meanings?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like we just learned, I learned rainbow kisses to be something very different than sharing lipsticks. So you can see like language is language, right? And certain things can mean more than one thing. And but it's also good to try to know as many definitions of these things as we can, so we can approach them in the right way, right? So if I think rainbow kisses is one thing, and then you think it's something different, and I tell you, I won't use me in this definition, and this person tells another person, I want to rainbow kiss with you, one person's going to hold out a lipstick, and one person is going to be ready to do something very different. So, so I think this is a really good lesson in getting on the same page when you're talking about sex, especially sexual acts, because to determine your risk with that sexual act, right, you're going to need to know what it actually entails. And that actually leads to it leads right to where I want to talk about. It's my thing here. Talk about assessing your risk. So let's actually take the example of rainbow kisses and use that to assess our risk when it comes to HIV and when it comes to STIs. So let's see here. So 3 ways that I find to assess my risk. I think about the activity, right? So you're gonna think about, hi, Darren. Darren, we're talking about rainbow kisses. He's like, what? To assess my risk, I think about the activity. What is happening? What am I doing here, right? What is the actual act? And with the rainbow kisses that I described, it is putting, a mouth to a vagina, and there is blood involved, right? So I know that's the act. That's the act that I'm actually participating in. Is it anal? Is it vaginal? Is it oral? What is the actual act? Then I think about the fluids that are involved. Most of y'all are in the HIV sphere, but for those that don't know, there are 6 fluids that HIV could be carried in. We have blood, we have cum, pre-cum, anal secretions, vaginal secretions, and breast milk. If there is one of those fluids involved, then you might be at risk for HIV. You might be at risk for transmitting HIV. So you want to keep those fluids in mind with the activity that you're doing. So if it's a rainbow kiss in the way that I described it, there is blood involved, right? There's blood involved. And then you think about the exposure that you have right now. Do you have any untreated STIs? Does the person that you are with have any untreated STIs? Are you with one sex partner? Are you having multiple sex partners? Is the sex partner anonymous? Or are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol right now? So activity, what are we doing? The fluid, what fluids are involved? And exposure, what is the actual situation? What's the situation of my sex right now? Thinking about those 3 things, you can somewhat determine your risk for HIV in that moment. Thinking about those 3 things, Richard, Darren, and Josh, what do you think the risk for HIV would be with an anonymous partner, rainbow kissing an anonymous partner? Would the HIV risk be high, or do you think it would be low?
So if we're playing with that definition of a rainbow kiss, we're exposed to blood. Now, I guess it depends, is the blood out in the air? Are we going directly to the vagina? Are we setting up a scenario?
Sure. So these are all great. Thank you, Richard. So these are all questions you're going to ask yourself. Like, if we know that blood hits the air, viruses die, right? So it's not as likely, but is it directly? Let's say it's direct.
Okay. If it's directly, then we have to think, if the person putting their mouth in the area where the blood is, do they have any open sores? If they have any open sores, or they have any open cuts, or anything that, opens up their mucous membranes, then they're going to have a moderate to high risk of being on the receiving end of transmission.
Yes, I agree with that. With this specific situation, yes, there is a lot of blood involved. And if you're putting your mouth directly on it, there might be a higher risk for HIV. You can do this exercise with any sex act, as long as you know the definition of that act and you both are on the same page. So let's think about the same thing with the other definition of rainbow kisses, which was, where was it?
Different color lipsticks, and to see who could basically deep throat the best, because then the lines would line up. So that's how it becomes a rainbow, because it's a competition.
That's what I knew rainbow kisses to be. So when I hopped on, I was like, this is rainbow kisses.
Well, apparently I'm the only one with my definition of rainbow kisses, so I'm gonna have to just rework my definition. So if it is that, if it's rainbow kisses in that way, what is the risk for HIV?
I mean, it falls into the same category as what Richard said prior, except for maybe I would say it's a little higher chance because there's multiple partners. Whether you know these partners or not adds to the risk factor, as well as, like you said, if there's any open cuts as far as access to the mucous membrane, or even if you all decided to put a condom on it, and so
Okay.
it's still moderate risk.
So let's think about the situation, right? So with the activity, it is oral sex, right? That's the activity. So it's a mouth on a penis. Then we're thinking about the fluids. So what fluids are involved? So there's a penis involved, so probably pre-cum and cum. Is there blood involved? Not really, probably not really. And there's no, it would just be pre-cum and cum. And then for the exposure, so it's one penis and there's different mouths on this one penis, right? Right, okay. So I think the exposure for HIV might actually be lower. It might be a little bit low because you are just putting your mouth on this penis and contracting HIV through oral sex is a very, very low chance. Darren and Richard, would y'all agree with that, or what do y'all think?
Yeah, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I'm gonna piggyback off of some of the things I've heard from you all just jumping on a call. Yeah, because I think in a situation with oral sex, it just comes down to the assessment of the person who's actually performing the oral sex, like whether they have cuts or not, and then the person who's actually receiving, whether they have cuts or not. Because statistically, I mean, it has been shown time and time again that transmission of HIV, like from oral sex, is a very low. Because one thing far as oral sex is concerned, for the person who is performing the act, like saliva does not transmit. So I think it comes down to the assessment of the penis, and then also the person who's performing they act, like, do they have any cuts, and what is their sexual history and patterns? Are they regularly being tested? And all those things have to come into account. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. And this is a good exercise to think about, because once you start thinking about that one thing, you start thinking about all these other things, all these other factors that you actually might have the answers to and could help lead you to a healthier decision. All right.
Someone in the chat asked, does swallowing make a difference in the situation?
So swallowing is, from what I understand, swallowing is a good thing. Swallowing is a good thing over spitting. When you are swallowing anything, viruses tend to die in your throat rather than you spitting it and then it possibly getting in your teeth and kind of like staying there and like kind of getting stuck in your mouth. So I would say swallowing is safer than spitting.
I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Darren. And then we have a few Q&A questions. We'll go for it.
Yes, we'll get some.
No, I was going to say the saying goes, spit or swallow, don't waddle. Like, don't like play around in your mouth. You either spit it out or swallow it, because by swallowing it, the stomach like will break it down.
Okay.
Or just like spit it out. But if you play with it, because going back to what we're saying with cuts, and not even necessarily like HIV in that matter, but STI. So if you have like open cuts of sores in your mouth and you have it in your mouth and you just like have it there, it's like you need to make a decision. Are you gonna be the girl who's gonna spit it out, or you'll like take it down? But yes.
Spit or swallow.
So long as the person doesn't have any ulcers too. Ulcers in the esophagus or stomach too. Okay, so we've got several questions, which is great. We're gonna roll through these. So back to the conversation about having difficult conversations. Why do you think it's so hard for people to call a penis and a vagina a vagina?
I would say it's hard because we grow up calling it so many other things. Our parents are like, that's your winky, that's your pinky, that's your little one, your little guy, your whatever. And we don't just come out at 2 or 3 years old and say penis. If you don't tell a kid that saying penis is weird, they won't think it's weird. You know, so I think it starts very, very young. And I think, I mean, I don't have kids. I'm definitely not a parent, but if I did, I believe I would try to use those words from jump, you know, use those words from jump.
Okay, great. So the next one is just a pretty straightforward question. This is very enlightening. Would a list of term definitions be populated and shared? I'm wondering, I'm going to have access to the transcript of the chat. So if any one of you all would like to kind of compile those.
Yeah, we can get something together. Sure thing.
Yeah,
Yep,
all right.
that,
And so,
next week.
all right, and then just FYI, folks, this will be available recording in about a week after we can get it captioned on our YouTube. So the next question is your risk as high if you don't have any cuts, and I think we addressed this a little bit. So this might have been asked before that. And so then we're back to our rainbow kissing example. So to go off of that example, would you be, whichever definition, we'll see. So would you be at risk for transmitting HIV if the blood, okay, so your version, David, your version of that, if the blood is menstrual blood. I know there would still be risk with the vaginal fluids, but is HIV transmitted through menstrual blood in the same way it's transmitted through regular blood?
I believe so. It's the same blood system. Josh, Richard, or Darren, do you have anything else on that? But I believe so, yeah.
I can come back to that. I actually saw that question a little earlier and I was curious. So I'm going to do some research and get back to y'all at the end of the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have a comment and then a question. So the first thing is a comment. Someone says, I came out late in life after being religious for 20 years. The third boyfriend I had in the first year, I married a few years later. We've been married for 11 years. Congratulations. Now at 50, I'm not a sex positive person. I'm a prude, but I would like to be more sex positive. I would also like to be more involved with the Black queer community after being married to a white boy. That's why I keep coming to these brown bag lunches. I'm shocked, but the discussion about the discussion, but more informed. And I really appreciate that. So if you want that shock factor, come join us. Join our events. Take a look. We do this engagement in a very different way, but effective. And so, you know, that's part of getting us all equipped to engage the community, our clients, folks in our families, right? We want to get rid of our discomfort so that we can have the conversations that are needed about these topics. Thank you. So next we have our question. Can we normalize disclosure elevator speeches where you name your kinks and boundaries and diagnosis prior to sex acts? I.e., I like butt play, tripping, and choking. I have boundaries around oral to mouth and condom use. I have herpes and am not experiencing an outbreak. So can we normalize this? And I will even change it to how do we normalize this?
Yeah, how is so hard. We should be normalizing this, but it's not normal. Like these questions actually usually come after the sex. It's like, well, what do you actually like? It's like, why don't we just start with that? So how do we normalize that? I don't know. What do y'all think? How do we normalize?
For me, I just feel like just literally having conversation before y'all even get into any act, even if it's not directly about these things that we are disclosing on. Oftentimes people come into the situation, it's like a hey, hi, whatever, y'all may partake in some things and then they get to business. But with me, like, I'm just like, nah, I need to have a conversation with you, like, at least like, hey, how's your day? And then from that, like, you know, like, it's all about like having that responsibilities. Like for myself, I always say I want to lead by example since I work in the field, that when I meet up with somebody, like I just tell them from the jump, like, hey, like, you know, we said we want to do this, but also I don't like this, this and that. Like I'm only willing to do this, this and that. And understanding that it's okay to say that you don't like something or that you do like something and they don't. Like, it's just all about I feel like the more you do it as an individual, then it becomes normalized in that way.
That's right.
I love that. So we've got a couple more questions. Oh, well, one more question and one comment. I'm going to invite our viewers. If you have any last lingering questions, we're going to begin to wrap up our conversation just for today. And you can always send an email to any one of us later on. So if you do have some lingering questions, feel free to ask them, and we'll go ahead and try to address as many as possible. So next we have, any advice for friends that were taught that masturbation was bad from their parents, and now they are afraid to explore their own bodies because of what they were taught?
Whoa, that's so rough. Our parents can really mess us up, y'all. Love my parents, but parents are parents. And I think first acknowledging that that I feel this way because my parent taught me this, right? This is not innate to me. This is a learned thing, and it's not a real thing. I have learned this thing about me. And so now I want to unlearn it. I think you have to, first of all, asking the questions is the first step, and then just slowly getting into that process, and on a consistent basis, trying to masturbate on a consistent basis, almost like it's your job to learn how to accept this sexual part of yourself and learn how to please yourself. Literally set an alarm for every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. I am going to take a half hour to an hour, and I'm going to touch myself because I deserve that, because I am entitled to that, because I deserve to feel good and I deserve to feel pleasure. And also, my parents have been wrong before, right? Think about all those other things your parents taught you that you found out, actually, no, I want to do it this way. I want to do it that way. We can love our parents again, but we are taught a lot of negative things about that. And it's up to us to slowly and consistently reverse those things, come up with our own ideas, and then put those ideas into our bodies.
Also, I was just gonna say, to add to that, my friend mom, she always said, like, if you don't know how to do it yourself, why would you put the trust in someone else? So it's just like, the more you know your body, the better you will be able to then connect with other people, because you know exactly what you like, where to go, what works for you and what doesn't, because it's just like, I feel like it's better to figure out those things with yourself than to be in the moment. And now you either feel some sort of pressure because this other person is here versus it just being you, as well as when it's you, the same way you set up for when whomever is coming over, you should set up for yourself. Like,
yes, right.
Set the mood because you love yourself.
That's right.
Come on, y'all. So we've got a couple comments in the chat and a couple comments in the Q&A, and then so I'll go over those and then sort of leave it to y'all to leave us with some last words. So we've got somebody relatedly in the chat who mentioned it's important to have conversations about your goes and your no's before you both go into throws. So I really like that. So having conversations about your sex wants and needs. And someone mentioned if you can't talk to your partner about sex, then maybe you shouldn't be having sex with that person.
That's kind of it. That's it right there.
And relatedly, we do have a comment in the chat. So we talked about having open conversations about people's status and sort of what they're taking, what they're doing, what preventative care measures they're undergoing. So someone mentioned that they hadn't heard too much talk about PrEP or conversations around using PrEP before sex. And so just reminding us that this also presents an opportunity to be more sexually liberated. So for sure. So absolutely. And let's specifically put that name, PrEP, because we haven't thrown that around too much, but we did talk about those preventative measures, and for sure, PrEP. And then someone also just wanted to leave us with a note that their father walked in on them while masturbating as a child. He walked over and hugged the child and left the room. And now that they're older, they really appreciate that. So that's the kind of
love that.
Parents.
I love that.
What a parent. Wow.
Yeah. So now I'm going to take this time, just sort of as we wrap up, to sort of give you all the floor to leave your final words, your lasting words, with some things that folks should walk away with, understanding with respect to open conversations about sex, status, risk, all of that. And then we'll tie this up with a pretty bow and we'll be on our way.
I guess I'll go first because I came in at the last minute. But I actually was going to ad lib on the masturbation question that came out. I would just also suggest that one thing, like, for anybody who grew up feeling some type of shame towards their body or feeling like that masturbation was bad, one of the things I had to learn to do, not necessarily because I was shamed growing up about like masturbation or anything in particular, but finding confidence in who we are and sex overall. One of the things I used to do, I used to literally get up in the morning and I would just like stand in the mirror like naked and I would say affirmations to myself. And like starting like with those kind of practices just reassures you in who you are, and it does make you more confident when you're in a position where you're about to engage in sex in any kind of like way. And to Joshua's point, it makes you more assured, and also you don't feel that pressure because you know your value and your worth and what that means to you. And it's just about getting that power back that was taken away from you as a curious child, because it's not that it's shameful or it's wrong. There's curiosity that's going to rise with you being a teenager, and sex is going to be one of the things. So yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
I would just say, like, understand that everything is an individual journey, like even from the things that your parents tell you, because they are individuals and they learned that from somebody or from somewhere. And to understand that what's good for you may not be good for somebody else. And just don't yuck anybody's yum, as we say around here at BAI. And just really, it's just about, if you, I like to just say, I know I'm the met, like I know I'm the hot stuff. Like, so let me treat it like that. Let me understand that I have value as a person, I have value as a human being. So I should take all precautions that I need to in order to engage in whatever I want. Whether it be if I want to have bareback sex, then okay, there's prep for that. Like if I want to do these rainbow kisses, then okay, well maybe I should pick some people that I know. You know, it's all about your own personal preference, your own personal time frame, and however you choose to engage, and just making sure, like from the game that we played earlier, that you take all of those things into consideration before doing the actual act.
Beautiful.
Well, I love those messages, y'all, and mine actually ties in with that. And I would just say, take it slow. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to hop in it all at once. And Darren's message about standing, you know, maybe you could just start off standing naked in the mirror and giving yourself affirmations, and then take that next step. Nobody's in a rush. You're on your own individual journey, as Josh said, and you'll get there when you get there. You take it slow.
Beautiful. And the last thing I'll say very quickly is everybody deserves pleasure. Everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have $1 million, or you have $1, or you have negative $300 in your bank account. I don't care if you're the garbage man or the teacher. Everybody deserves pleasure. And everybody deserves to be on a journey to find their pleasure in a safe and consensual way. So I hope that you are all on that journey. And if you're not, you're ready to begin that journey, like Richard said, very slowly, cautiously, and have fun with it. Like this is not meant to be so serious. It's meant to have fun and feel good in the moment. And yeah, I'll leave you out with that.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, y'all. And that does it for this week. So thanks so much to David, Richard, Josh, and Darren for sharing their experiences and their insights with all of us, and for helping us to have a lot of fun. So if you'd like to reach any of us, feel free to check us out on our staff page on blackaids.org. That's our website, so blackaids.org. Recordings from this and our other BBL sessions are available about 1 week or so after the live webinar on our Black AIDS YouTube channel. Be sure to check us out for these webinars. They're typically every fourth Thursday, and they're at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 1 p.m. Central and 2 p.m. Eastern. Our last BBL of 2021 is going to be next month on the 28th, October 28th. You can stay updated on events like this by following BAI on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Black AIDS. You can follow these guys directly at Rev in Color, REV in Color on Instagram. And you can also subscribe to our website, blackaids.org. Once again, my name is Tenesha Lewis. I'm the Senior Manager of Training and Capacity Building at the Black AIDS Institute. I'm wishing everyone a wonderful end to your week. Please stay safe and be well.